You know, there are two things that I despise, and they are liars. And it is, I should say, it is lying, lying, lying. We're going to get to that. But also, anyone, anything that hurts children. Welcome, Warrior, to our Saturday Night Live right here from the belly of the beast, which would be New York City. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe. You know, I went through the analytics today for the Warriors channel, and only 57% of all of you are subscribed who are watching these videos. Now, our hashtag is Community Creates Change, and we need to build community if we are going to get the truths and the facts and things out there I want you to know about. So please, it's free. Subscribe to our channel. Also hit the little bell so you can be notified. You can become a member also. I just want to thank everybody at the start, because once I start talking, I pretty much don't stop for helping us, for donating, for volunteering, for sharing our information on your platforms. Let me just check in. Let's see. There's George in Texas. Hello, Mrs. L. Phoenix Benjamin. Hello, everyone. 5x5. Good. Everybody is on board tonight. Pete says, for me, with the trafficked children subject, you have to control the levels of comprehension or else you can get sick. That is true, Pete. But here's what I say about it. If we don't talk about it, then who will? CR, new member. Thank you, CR, for becoming a member. That is much appreciated. And you will be getting videos first when I put them up. A couple of things I want to talk about. Okay, we have to address it. I am sure by now, I try. All of the issues we talk about are bipartisan when it comes to children. Border, border, border. We at the Warriors have been talking about the border at least for the last 3 years. Good evening, Albert Sanchez Jr. Edie Crowley is saying, hi, Phoenix. Well, I'm going to say hello to you, Edie, but let me stay on topic right now. I watched that disgusting display last night on my television set, and I have to tell you, I still feel ill. I can barely say it. Now, you might say, why are you wasting your time? Why are you watching that? Because in order for me to write anything, to talk about a subject matter, I want to see it and hear it for myself. I don't want to depend upon anybody for anything. I was made sick. How dare Kamala Harris go to the border now, after the good men and women who have been working on the border, law enforcement, agents, sheriffs, have been crying, literally, some of them that we have met with, about what has been going on, and stand there in what is reported to be that Tiffany necklace. Now, I don't know if it is for a fact, but you know, I got a pretty good eye and I examined it and I enlarged it and I compared it to the Tiffany's necklace. You know, have your necklace, Kamala Harris. We don't care, but do not wear it to the border where there is so much suffering and the overtaking of our beautiful United States. She made me sick. She stood there and lied and lied and lied. And Border Patrol, border agents do not support Kamala Harris or the Biden-Harris administration. Lie. Also, this talk about increasing pay for border agents she was involved with, another lie. She really didn't have her hands on any of that. Now, we all know she's been in power for close to 4 years with Joe Biden. I want to put them together. Everybody should always be saying like Biden, Harris, Biden, Harris. Just keep it going, that theme. And they did nothing. Let me just stop and say thank you to Lori Cuck. All 102 counties in Illinois had Christians praying to God for our government and our children. Well, that's a beautiful, beautiful thought. We have to pray. We have to pray. But let me stick with this border, because We've been working on the border. We've been talking about the border, preaching about the border, talking about Trendy Aragua, talking about the vicious, violent gangs infiltrating America. They are in all 50 states. Thank goodness in the last 2 months or so, everybody, well, not everybody, people seem to be getting on board a little bit that this does exist. These are vicious, violent people that will rip your child. If they want your child, see them walking down a sidewalk, they will just rip them out of your arms and take them. I do not exaggerate. But for that woman to stand there and say that this is a priority for her and to have a photo op, I'm sure most of you saw if you watched it, it was a very carefully orchestrated. She had all these her people with her, cheering in the audience. It's interesting. They never show an audience of hers really. If she's giving, I don't know, what is she giving? 2 speeches, but you hear the clapping. Interesting. You never really see the people, but they did have a group with her laying out the photos, for the photo op. And she did spend exactly 20 minutes. I don't know what everybody heard. She was there for 20 minutes for the photo ops. Linda Hazlitt, thank you so much. She is a liar and she has no shame. You know what, Linda? Say it loud, say it proud. Exactly what I'm saying. It would have been better. I woke up today, I said to my husband, it would have been better if she just didn't go there at all. Seriously, that's my thinking on it. Why is she going there? It is such a sham and a scam and just lying. But what's more upsetting to me, everybody, is how can the American public fall for any of this? The border is the number one thing. That is, remember, at the Warriors, we have a wheel with a lot of spokes. And all those different spokes make the wheel go around. If you take the border as the wheel, you've got all of the sex trafficking, labor trafficking, human smuggling, fentanyl, other illicit drugs. You've got the crime. And everybody can see this. So why is the American public, I know people vote party lines, but this cannot be. This cannot be. If you are here in New York City or any of these sanctuary cities, we have seen within the last year the drastic changes just on the streets. We have seen what is being taken away from Americans. And because I work with mothers, vulnerable people who need services, Americans. And just yesterday, somebody told me her services were taken away because you know what? Here in New York, it's being spent now on the illegals. For this woman to go there and stand there. Prepper Patty says, what border did she go to? Well, she went to Arizona. And it's so upsetting. She walked along the wall built by Donald Trump because she and Joe Biden on day one, does everybody remember? Day one, remember the pile of, they undid executive orders and he was sitting Biden at that little tiny table piled up, undoing all of the great border work and security that Donald Trump put in place. Now, who does that on their first day in office or at all? Criminals who want to change the makeup of America. It's very simple. But again, how can the American public look at this? Well, I pray. I pray. Again, I never tell people how to vote. And I never will, but I pray when everybody goes to vote. We have to vote. Everybody has to exercise their right to vote. We have a different outcome. That's what I have to say. And I don't want to keep hearing. I want to go back on something about Trendy Aragua. For 3 years, I've been told they're infiltrating the country, but also bringing in massive amounts of weapons, right? We don't talk about that a lot. Just yesterday in Texas, though, 2 of the main gang members, I don't know what to call these criminals, horrible, awful people, were arrested by Homeland Security that were bringing in massive amounts, part of the smuggling operation. But let's be clear on something, that they are smuggling in and trafficking weapons. And let's also review Kamala Harris saying, I can't even say it, I really can't, about a border bill that was struck down because Donald Trump picked up a phone and called his buddies. Well, therefore, she's admitting Donald Trump wields a lot of power. Second of all, that border bill, that piece of legislation, okay, was so horrible. It did nothing to stop any of this invasion of America. It did nothing to stop the sex trafficking of children. It did nothing to stop illicit fentanyl and other drugs. It simply provided more monies for more agents. I'm breaking it down very, elementary, but it was simply more money for more agents to process these people. That's what it was. It was more money for those criminal NGOs, those non-governmental organizations that I have been asking, along with some others, what do? They are shrouded in secrecy, making millions and millions of dollars, our tax-paying dollars. They're supposed to be vetting and taking in children and putting them with responsible sponsors. And we know, by their own admission, Biden-Harris administration, in excess now of 500,000 um, unaccompanied minors have disappeared. And the other thing, I want to make sure I don't miss anything.
Click to the top right. See this? No. Starred. Below. Starred.
Oh,
there. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody.
That's your list.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just... I'm sorry about that. I'm getting so wound up about this Kamala Harris on the border, because we at the Warriors have worked so extensively with border and these 500,000 that we know about, right? Imagine all the ones we don't know about. And just these NGOs, again, making millions of dollars of our hard earned, these are tax dollars. You can't ask them questions. You can't photograph anything. They're covered, these black sheets and things like that, these different processing. It's criminal. So we have to pray. We have to come together. We have to hope and pray that things change. But she is not responsible for anything. I urge all of you, go to the group, Lost Voices of Fentanyl, that the Warriors is part of. Look at those parents and family members who have lost a child, a sister, a brother, a mother, a father. One pill kills. This is the intentional poisoning of Americans. It has been going on. How dare she stand there? How dare she, dare she, dare she? Again, she would have been better off just not going near the place. But we have such a problem with this fentanyl. And while all this is going on and everybody's concerned with, I don't know, I guess the low-hanging fruit, but I guess we have to be concerned with everything. I'm still in shock that this woman goes to the border, what is it, 30-something days before the election, for a photo op in a Tiffany's, what looks like a Tiffany's $62,000 necklace. And how dare she say this is a priority for her? People must be held responsible. She is a liar. She doesn't care. Everybody should be taking to Times Square or wherever you are in your town and protesting this. I do not understand. And for nothing else, nobody asks her, where are the now what's reported over 500,000 unaccompanied minors in our country? We know a large portion are sex trafficked and labor trafficked. Just think about that, 500,000 kids. So many kids. Lori Cup, thank you. Hair looks great. Well, Lori, we took a little drive and went to a farm today. It was kind of raining, and it's pumpkin time, and actually one of our favorite times to buy a bunch of pumpkins and corn and all that. And it was, but you know what happened on the farm? And it was raining, so I put the hair up. A little too much information, but that's where I'm going with this. But you know what happened to me, Warriors, when I was at the farm? There were a lot of families with little kids. And I kept looking at these precious little kids running around the pumpkin patch, and they had different games set up and little rides. And I'm like, who could ever hurt these children? Who could allow these children to be hurt? I'll never get over Kamala Harris and what I saw last night. standing there and
Oh, so hit live on the top. Hello. There, click there.
yes.
That gives you the running list, and on the right gives you.
Okay, I got it. Thank you, everybody. My producer is giving me some tips here because I get so carried away when I'm talking about these things. Okay, let me move down. Yes, innocent kids and our future, and that's yes, Greg. Everybody's forgetting about these children now are our future adults, our future leaders. So we have to really take care of them. Lori, thank you. Nothing else matters. No, it really, this is it right now. And also, when I was reading something that, remember yesterday, which was perfect, even though it's horrible, the ICE report came out that right now we have over 662,000 that we know about criminals we've allowed in this country under Biden Harris. That is 662,000. I can't even talk about it. 662 that will attack our children, give them drugs, whatever they're doing. But I want to point out something also that who the biggest drug mules are right now with our border? Does anybody have any idea? Take a guess, everybody. Anybody? I know there's a little lag here. Drug mules. Who knows who the biggest drug mules are right now? Greg says, have no idea. Ann says it's stunning. More people aren't talking about it. Okay. George, did you look it up? George in Texas, but it actually is our American teens. Now, this is something else the Warriors has been talking about, that the criminal cartels are in all 50 states. Faye says women, well, some of them are women. Dennis, thank you so much. Looks like enjoying the show, not so much the content, sending positive vibes your way in these weird times. Now, let me just say something about that. Dennis, thank you so much. Who likes this content? You think I want to tell you day after day about children being abducted, sex trafficked, fentanyl, all of these horrible things? But we have to talk about this. We have to address Kamala Harris standing on our border saying she's doing everything in her power to keep people safe. We have to, if we don't talk about it, if we don't have awareness, if we don't have take actions, if we don't come together as a community, if we don't know what to do with our children, right, then we all fail. We have to talk about it. Ugly indeed, horrible, I agree. We have to talk about it. But let's get back to our American teens. So the criminal cartels, we've been talking about this in the Warriors, are in all 50 states. And they've been infiltrating middle and high schools and paying our American children, our precious children, to deal their dirty drugs and to traffic their peers, other students, into sex trafficking primarily. But they are also our American kids, the biggest drug mules, because a kid will do something for $200. And they're easily, and this study that came out is actually from 2016 to 2020. So it's already old. That is something when I'm in Washington, I'm always talking about. Why are our studies, I know I'm digressing everybody, there's a lot to talk about here. Why are our studies always so old? We have sex trafficking studies, a lot of them, that ended in 2014. They don't hold anymore. It's no good. Where are all the monies for all these studies and research? Although there is an organization called Thorn, they put out a great new study a few months back, so I'll give them that. But this comes 2016 to 2020, that American kids are the biggest drug mules. Now, already this is 4 years old. We're going into 2025. It's only increased. I would say right now the biggest drug mules, because we had to get through that horrible, I don't want to say the word here, but I will. You know what happened in that 2020 period? Remember? We were all home on the computer. Seriously, I don't like to say the word. What these criminals are doing that have come here freely is they stalk vulnerable people. They'll go to parking lots in poorer neighborhoods. They'll hang out, like, for instance, at a Walmart parking lot or a dollar store parking lot, and they look for a woman who might have a lot of kids, a single mom they target, and people are desperate for money. So they're getting Americans to deal their dirty drugs. But kids right now, they pointed out in the study, were able to slip by uh, American kids back and forth over the border much more easily than these illegal aliens. So that's 2020. Can you only imagine what this is now? But we have known this is going on. So we have to talk to our kids about it and our grandkids. We have to go to our schools and make sure they know about it and educate them. I'm still determined. I don't know what you want to say about the schools, but I'm determined if you have a child in a school, you have to get involved. You have to, be a class parent. You have to ask what is the curriculum. You have to be part of the school board. You have to do anything in your power, right? Because ideally, not everybody can go to private or charter or learning pods, and even those are being infiltrated. You have to be responsible. We have to start talking about this and making our voices heard. And that is why I'm always urging you. House.gov, Senate.gov, they do keep records. Now, when I go to Washington, that is a Warriors Take Action, where I can say, I've gotten our warriors to sign on about illegal aliens or whatever bill or legislation I'm giving you that we need to talk about. But I am still trying to get over that woman standing there and lying. How stupid are they? I mean, like strategy and all that. Like, she's standing there now. Gee. All right, let me calm down, everybody. But also very disturbing that, everyone now is an expert, right? And by virtue of the internet, we're all experts. We believe in freedom of speech. I want everybody to say whatever they want. As long as you're not hurting a child or hurting somebody, everybody should be able to voice what they want. But thank you, Pete. At first it was uncomfortable, but Lynn has made me see the importance. Albert. Yeah, CR, she will not close the border. You bet she's not closing any border. Everything she said yesterday, just erase it. She's doing nothing. It'll be business as usual. Business, because I say that because everybody's making a lot of money with this business. The cartels have never done so well. They have free reign. In my opinion, they are complicit with our U.S. government in the biggest human trafficking operation in the world, along with these NGOs on the border, not protecting all people. But what about the kids? All these children. I wish I could have been there yesterday to scream out at Kamala. What about all the missing children? Oh, what about Lake and Riley? How about naming all of those girls attacked? Nothing from nothing. Anyway, let's get back to everybody by virtue of the internet and the world today, the way it goes, is an expert. But I'm here to say it's a very simple strategy. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. What your gut tells you is usually right. At least in my experience, I've researched things. I've done this, I've done that. But whatever my gut tells me, when I go against it, I don't go against it anymore because it's always right. And think the same way. Think the same way, because there's an issue now. I get asked this a lot. I see it online a lot, different coalitions I'm part of. So and parents ask a lot, and rightfully so. What is the right age to buy I'm catching up. I'm a little slow, everybody. Let's see. Gracie loves George. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you. I'm here to help you, to teach you, to have a discussion with you, a realistic discussion about all of these issues and what we need to do about them. Because really the bottom line is, unless we do it in our communities, in our homes, nobody's really doing anything. All right. Let's leave that for a minute. Lori Cuck says, if Trump wins, but they make it look stolen equals chaos. We're not going to go there yet. We got to stay in our lanes for today. We got to dissect what we heard last night. We're having a Warriors Saturday Night Live. We're all going to vote. We're all going to do whatever it takes to protect our kids. We're not going to worry about that yet. We're going to take it kind of one day at a time. But thank you, Gracie. I don't do enough. There aren't enough hours in the day. We work with a lot of survivors and victims. That takes up a lot of our time. We always support them and help them. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. But getting back to, parents are always asking, what's the right age to buy a child a phone? Now, this ties in with, I'm telling you, use your gut. I cannot tell you, you have parental autonomy or caretaker autonomy. Remember, families today in America are made up of many different units. We have aunts and uncles taking care of kids, older siblings taking care of kids. My eyes have really opened up to all of this because it's not the traditional family I grew up in, my husband, maybe you grew up in. It's all different. So we like to say caretakers, parents, a lot of grandparents are taking care of kids these days. I will say to you, delay is the way when it comes to buying devices. Delay is the way. I would never think about it until age 12, even. Age 12, right? Because the brain's not ready. The brain's still developing, right? And remember, there's always those iPhones and watches and things from a company like Gab. And yes, I'll say right here, you do get a discount if you use Lynn's Warriors as a code. But I believe in this company so much because your child won't feel left out. It looks like the iPhone, but it only has texting and calling capability, no internet. So at least your child, say they're 11, 12, you want to give them a phone, you don't want them to have internet access. No child should have open internet access. I don't care if you're 17 or if you're 7. So whenever you buy that phone. But I was looking at something when I was thinking about this. 90%, now listen to this one, 90% of 3 and 4-year-olds, 90%, I'm going to keep saying it, 90% are on YouTube. 3 and 4-year-olds, little babies. Now listen, I got in the elevator yesterday and there was a child in, the stroller and propped up. The dad had the, I guess it was like an iPad or a tablet, attached to the stroller. Maybe the baby was about 16 months, looking at a cartoon. And I know a lot of parents do that. It's like a babysitting tool, right? I guess it would be the same as, a lot of us put cartoons on for the kids years ago and they watch cartoons. But 3 to 4-year-olds, 90% on YouTube, that is opening up the world to the predators. And parents will say to me, well, I'm putting, Peppa Pig on. I'm putting Blue's Clues. I'm not even sure if that show's still on, but I'm putting one of those shows on. And leave them. Now, I always say to them, as we have found out in all of our work and with all of our tech experts we work with, the predators are right there. Unless you have the guardrails on, they break into all of the children's programming with porn, with sexual images of themselves, asking kids for sexual images. And I'm talking 3 and 4-year-olds. You got to keep an eye on every single thing. But 90% of 3 to 4-year-olds are on YouTube. That is their main source of what the parents are giving them or caretaker. And we also have 25%. I find this shocking also. 5 to 7-year-olds, 25% of them own an iPhone. Now, that is just, in my opinion, criminal. Just criminal. If you're going to have a phone, I mean, why does a 5-year-old need a phone, right? Again, it's your decision. Why is a 6 or 7-year-old? Again, it's your decision. But at least have the phone that only has a call and a text and watch everything and monitor. You have to. You're paying for everything. When parents say to me, oh, it's their privacy. No. What about the predators? Who's forget that privacy. You pay for it. You pay for all these devices. You monitor, and that's the word I'm using. You monitor those devices. Linda Hazlitt, $4.99. Thank you so much. I don't know one dem that has changed their mind yet. I have to tell you, Linda, I'm not focused on them. I work on a lot of bipartisan legislation, and a lot of it is sponsored by, for instance, our Kids Online Safety Act, is sponsored by Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, Democrat. And if this is where you're going with this, and also Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican from Tennessee. So we do have a lot of bills we've put together. Now, getting them over the finishing line to actually enact them is a completely different story. Dems, well, I don't try to change anybody's mind. I don't have the time or energy, if that's what you're talking about, Linda, to I've been enraged when I've been in the company of some people, but I hold it back because there is no changing their minds. On the other hand, I want to point out this may not be a popular comment. I've been in the company of Republicans who, I'm sorry, have said some crazy things, some, and I'm not going to change their mind about what they're saying. And that could be about child trafficking, it could be about babies, whatever. It's just as crazy. So again, we stay, within our community and we educate and protect that way. I'm not trying to change any Dems' minds about anything or Republicans' minds, because people don't change. Georgia and Texas, children have no privacy. Does Zuckerberg or Musk allow their children to go online? Well, Elon Musk has, at last count, 11 children we know about. There's probably more. Zuckerberg, I believe, don't hold me to this, does not allow his children online. Bill Gates announced that he did not allow his children any devices or online until they were 14. Now, if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what's going to tell you something. So why are we all the ones allowing our kids to be terrorized and sexualized and predators? Like, think about it. If these people, if that's how they're acting, I mean, come on now. It's almost if you don't know by now, but people don't, because I do this day in and day out when I talk about all of this online safety and sex trafficking and sexual images and things, and people tell me they're in denial. And I know I know it's ugly and dark, but again, it goes back to what we started talking about before. If we don't talk about it, who will? I am very disappointed. I want to bring this up, that Senator Shannon Grove out in California Republican, has done some incredible child safety work. And the story I'm about to tell you is happy and sad. Now, I'm happy because just the way society is today, she brought in as her partner for Senate Bill 1414, Paris Hilton, who's got millions and millions of followers on her platform. Okay, let's just leave that for a minute. And they partnered up for a child safety bill about these child ranches and group homes and things like that. And that's all good. But what I want to get back to is the Senate Bill 1414. I know I'm jumping around everybody, but I can't help it. There's a lot going on. And especially since I saw Kamala last night, I can't stick to anything because I keep getting that vision over and over again, lying on the border. Senate Bill 1414, Gavin Newsom, governor, just signed into law in California. But what that bill is, Senator Shannon Grove wanted to make approaching a child for sex a minor. That includes 18 and under, right? That is the definition. A felony. Go figure, it's not a felony in California. She fought very hard, Senator Shannon Grove. Really hard. The bill was held up by one person. They had to retool some of the language in the bill about 2 months ago. And the bill that was just signed into law yesterday says it is a felony for 15 and under. So, of course, we ask, to buy sex from a child, sex trafficking. Of course, we ask, well, what about the 16 and 17-year-olds? Because they are still considered minors under the law. The thinking on this was, it is better to get this bill in place and at least have 15 and under, a felony, get something in place, right? And I agree with this. And the 16 and 17-year-olds, they want to prove they were a victim of sex trafficking. Can you imagine putting the burden on a child, a teen, to prove they are a victim of sex trafficking? And then if they can prove it and they go to court, they can hold the trafficker responsible. It's the most ridiculous thing in the whole world. But at least a felony for 15 and under. Can you imagine it wasn't even a felony, attacking children? So we will continue working on something else. We'd rather try to get pieces of legislation in place for the safety of our children. We'll take anything we can get, fighting tooth and nail, and we will continue working. I know Senator Shannon Grove will continue working with Paris Hilton, raising awareness, utilizing her platforms. That raises a lot of attention. It enabled, for Paris to go and sit in front of Congress for the Dog and Pony Show, if that's what it takes, and talk about it, right? Because people want to see Paris Hilton. And we will continue working to protect our 16 and 17-year-olds. So if you're in the state of California, these are issues where we have to take actions where we need you to sign on and be a part of. But I want everybody to follow Senator Shannon Grove doing terrific, terrific work. And I want to point out, I want to leave you with this because it's Saturday night and I want everybody, it may not be nighttime where you are, certainly nighttime here in New York and Texas and some other places I'm seeing. There's a wonderful new book. I urge all of you. I did an interview. I don't even like to call them interviews, chats, reality discussion. I don't even like discussion with a wonderful warrior of ours, and she needs all of our support. She is a survivor because that is what we do. We help and give the survivors what they are missing or can't get from our government, from other resources. Her name is Angela Williams, and I posted the chat yesterday. And it's very timely because I've been doing a lot of media work with Nancy Grace on Sean Combs. I don't want to call him P. Diddy or Love or PD or whatever he's going by this week. I call him Sean Combs. I know people call him Diddy. The media refers to him as Diddy. All right, I'm calling him Sean Combs. And this book is very timely that Angela Williams is attached to. And I'll be talking with the author top of next week, Brian Joseph, investigative reporter. And this book is called Vegas Concierge. And it's about, so timely, it's about hip hop and the corruption, sex trafficking in America. And Angela Williams was trafficked for many years on the Vegas Strip. And we have always talked about, before all this Sean Combs stuff and other survivors, that hip hop was an avenue. This is what they were discussing, for sex trafficking. And that was just expected, and that was done, and that was part of the scene. And so this book is very timely. So I ask all of you, Vegas Concierge, it actually is released on October 1st, a couple of days from now. Thank you, Faye. She was excellent on your podcast. Yes, she was. And I want everybody to realize, she's a mom. She is a hard worker, beautiful daughter. She's turned her life around. She proudly says she's a follower of Jesus and spends her time now helping teens and women. Not even discussing, she's just a hand on the shoulder, giving them a safe space. It resonates. She's been through it. They accept her. But we need to support her, and we need to support her because she was her firsthand accounts went into this book, Vegas Concierge. Again, Brian Joseph, the author I'll be interviewing top of next week. We'll get that up. The book comes out October 1st, obviously available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, bookstores. You can pre-order, wait till October 1st. We need to support these people. She bravely has come forward. I'm very careful with victims and survivors of any of this trafficking. It's cringy. I don't like the idea. I've seen it over and over again, specifically in Albany, my state capital, and Washington, D.C., where groups, organizations, or the government brings out these people, primarily women, and kind of use them, tell us your story. And what was it like? And I see the way the audience, because I'm always about a focus group and audience, like kind of staring at them very strangely. And so I'm very careful about keeping that part of our work at the Warriors private, doing it behind the scenes. And we don't need some pictures and clicks and all that stuff. But Angela wants to speak out. She has been speaking out. She's been part of 3 documentaries so far, Surviving Sex Trafficking. You can find that online. High Class, that's another one you can find online. Just how easily, and she wants to point out, every girl, no matter where you come from today, she doesn't care if it's, low income neighborhood, high income, are so easily trafficked. And she wants to be there to help everybody. So I urge all of you to please come on, click on these interviews, give us some numbers, watch the stuff, pass it on. Do you have any teens? Watch it with them. Talk about it. But the book, Sex Trafficking, Hip Hop, Corruption in America, how timely is that with the Sean Combs story? So I urge all of you to be on the lookout for that. And I just want to finish up with, we're all doing great. Let's be happy. We get up every day. Hopefully we all have our health, our children, our grandchildren, our neighbors, our friends. We have a lot to be thankful for. There's a lot of good stuff going on. And let's just pray we have a change coming up in the next, 30 something days. But remember what's going on in the border. One pill kills. Fentanyl is a poison. It is not an overdose. Kids and all people, go to Lost Voices of Fentanyl. There's a Facebook group. Inadvertently took what they thought was half an aspirin. Took something from a friend. Don't take anything unless it's from a pharmacy. Do not. Because even that person giving it to you, unless you quiz them, they're not intentionally perhaps trying to poison you. If a girlfriend gives you half an aspirin or something like that, we have so many cases of girls in high school, taking a pill from their friend in school and then ending up dead. It's horrible. We have a lot of issues. We will talk about them because raising awareness is knowledge, right? And knowledge is power. And we come together. So think about it. The fentanyl right now is something affecting every community. The border, it comes from the border. It comes from China. And we're just not having any of what we saw last night standing on our border saying that they care for people. Because I'm saying they because I can't really even say her name anymore. What a sham and a scam and a liar. And we are warriors and we're having none of that enough. So everybody, I thank you all for joining me tonight. Let me just go through my list. I'm getting good at this. We have CR, a new member. Yes, everybody join as a member. I want to build that whole membership up so we can have exclusive content. I'm going to be working on that all day tomorrow. Lori Cuck, you are without peer, I like to say. Linda, I'll be seeing you soon at the Lionel show. I'll just throw that in there. Thank you. Dennis, thank you so much. Gracie loves George. You're the best. You're all the best for being here, participating. And let us honor our warriors hashtag, which is community creates change. Just remember that each and every day. Just think about that. Community creates change. Now go out each and every day and be a warrior. Good night.